So last night was the first night of Hanukkah, and Senator Charles Schumer celebrated by, well, doing his favorite thing, media blitz. He started by going on Hardball last night, which was being guest hosted by Michael Smerconish.
We need him to pass this 2-month deal, and that'll give us some degree of assurance that either he or both he and his caucus are really for giving the middle class a tax cut.
Senator,
we think secretly they're not.
A critic might say that the Senate should not have adjourned with this matter still open. As a matter of fact, Newt Gingrich, among others, is one who said that he thought that it was against the best interests of both the House and Senate for the Senate to have left. I think he said something along the lines of abdicating its responsibility.
Well, that's, the Senate has met its responsibility. What more could we do? To pass a bill 89-10, a bill that Speaker Boehner said was a good bill after it passed, and to send it over to the House, I think you got to look at who's abdicating their responsibility. When Speaker Boehner refused to put the Senate bill on the floor, the day it passed, he said he would put it on the floor. He now refuses to put it on the floor because he knows it has the votes to pass. That's where the abdication of responsibility is, and I don't think it's even a close question.
You know, Charles, you gotta be careful when you start picking fights like this, because this whole abdication of responsibility thing, hasn't it been nearly 3 years since your chamber, the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats, passed a budget? And didn't y'all pass this extension and then basically leave town? Actually, I think that is the point that Smerconish was bringing up. But since I can't do a back and forth with Chuck Schumer like this, I'll let Smerconish confront him with Gingrich's remarks and see what he says.
Here's the comment to which I referred. It's Newt Gingrich blasting you and your fellow Senate colleagues for playing games. Let's watch.
I think this is an example of why people are sick of Washington and sick of politics. They can't figure out how to pass a one-year extension so the Senate leaves town. I mean, it is an absurd dereliction of duty. And it's gameplay. Obama is so inept as a president, and the Congress is so dysfunctional as an institution, that we are lurching from failure to failure to failure in a way that I think the American people find very, very disheartening.
I think you've already responded. You obviously don't think that the Senate abdicated its responsibility by going home for the year.
Who's passed a bill that will extend the middle-class tax cut? The Senate. The House has not.
That is actually not true. That is a lie. The House did vote to extend the payroll tax holiday. In fact, I think they voted twice. They voted last week on Tuesday, December 13th, to extend it for 1 year. And then they voted again this Tuesday, December 20th, on a procedural vote to extend it again for a year. So what Senator Schumer said just there was not true. And, let's move on.
Right, but respectively, if the thing's not resolved, then perhaps the Senate should have stayed in business for the year until there was resolution.
Hey, Michael, look at what happened. We started out with 3.1% for employers and employees. We then got rid of the employer part. We then further negotiated and moved it down to 2%. We tried to do a one-year deal, but they put in things that they knew were killers that Democrats would never go for. So Leader McConnell and Leader Reid came together on a plan that would extend the payroll tax cut. It didn't squeak by. It passed 89-10. It's a bipartisan bill. It has the support of Newt Gingrich and many, many others. Newt Gingrich, Mitt Romney have all said we should pass a payroll tax cut. And today the Wall Street Journal, Karl Rove, and 8 Republican senators have said pass it. I mean, it's absolutely turning truth on its head to say, as Newt Gingrich did, that the Senate is abdicating its responsibility when Speaker Boehner won't even put that bill on the floor of the House for a vote.
Oh my God, that is such BS. I mean, there is so much wrong with what Schumer just said that I don't even know where to begin. I mean, what about that report from the National Payroll Reporting Consortium that basically said the Senate passed 2-month extension would be unworkable? That it would cause all sorts of problems, and that they couldn't do it. What about that? I mean, there is just so much to that you could nail him on right there. I certainly hope that Michael Smerconish tore Senator Schumer a new one after he unloaded that stream of baloney.
Senator Schumer, thank you for being on Hardball. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you, Michael.
You too.
Okay, well, all right. Maybe maybe Smerconish had on a Republican lawmaker to present a different take on this whole debate. Or if, he couldn't get a Republican lawmaker on the show, then perhaps he had on some insightful, hard-hitting journalist who would break down the what Schumer just said and pull no punches in a sharp-witted analysis of that political spin he just unleashed. What do we have? Who did he have on after Schumer?
Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst Howard Fineman, who's the Huffington Post Media Group editorial director.
Oh, wait. There's another clip I have to show you. How silly of me. You see, right after that show, Schumer went on to appear on Special Report with Bret Baier. Let's watch.
Where is this?
Good evening.
Where is this going? Is there any possibility that Senate Democrats will agree to come back and appoint conferees and move this from a House perspective to something that is 1 year for the payroll tax cut extension?
No, I think where it's going is that within a little while the House will do just what Leader Reid asked them to do, the President asked them to do, which is pass the bipartisan Reid-McConnell bill, and then we'll negotiate for the rest of the year. The Republicans are fighting with one another. My guess is that lots of people in Senator Speaker Boehner's own caucus are saying enough of this already. You can't just listen to the 80 hard right people at the extreme end of your caucus. And we've already done our job. We've passed a strong bipartisan bill that extends the payroll tax cut. The House continues to play games. They say send it to a committee. Well, you know what that means in Washington. It means we want to kill it without our fingerprints on it. That's time old, and
Senator,
we're not going to fall for it.
You know that conference committee is usually the standard order of where you iron things out. This seems to be ironing out the difference between 2 months and 1 year, something the President has called for, a 1-year extension of the payroll tax cut.
Well, last time the House tried to put a 1-year bill on the floor, they had to fill it with so many poison pills that everyone knew it was a joke, and Leader McConnell would not even bring it up on the Senate floor. It was such a joke. So they didn't pass anything. And here's the irony of this, Brett. The very same people who are now saying we want it for 1 year were for no payroll tax cut. They were against it 2 weeks ago. 5 of the 8 people who Speaker Boehner has appointed to this conference committee are against, have publicly stated they're against a payroll tax cut. You don't have to be Albert Einstein to see what's going on here.
Well, does it benefit Democrats, in your estimation, to drag this thing on through Christmas?
We want to pass a payroll tax cut. There's a simple way to do it. For the House to simply, all we're asking is Speaker Boehner to put the Senate bill on the floor. That's the normal procedure. When you have something that's really important as a tax cut over $1,000 for the average American middle-class family, and the Senate passes it overwhelmingly, you put it on the House floor. I will bet you dollars to donuts that if it's put on the House floor, which Speaker Boehner has thus far refused to do, it will pass with not 219 votes, one more than necessary, but with 50 or 60 votes more than necessary, because a large number of Republicans will vote for it as well. The reason he's not doing it is one of 2 reasons. He either wants it to fail but can't say so, or he's so afraid of the 50 people who really do want it to fail that he can't put it on the floor.
Senator, what do you say to the independent groups, the neutral groups like the National Payroll Reporting Consortium that wrote a letter to lawmakers saying this 60-day extension provides a problem? Quote, we believe there's insufficient lead time to accommodate the proposal embodied in this bill. In our opinion, the enactment of the 2-month extension as written could create substantial problems, confusion, and costs affecting a significant percentage of U.S. employers and employees, saying it's even the computerized payroll systems would have a problem, but really difficult for small employers.
Well, I think they walked that back. A Republican lobbyist asked this man to do it, and he said he didn't realize that he was being used, and he now has said it is possible to do 2 months. But let me say this. The Republican leaders in the Republican House has to show us some good faith. Who's going to believe they'll actually vote a year if they won't vote 2 months? It just defies logic. So they vote the 2 months, we'll negotiate a year, and we won't have to deal with how long it should last.
Okay, let me stop you right there, Chuck. There's a couple of problems with what the senator just said. First of all, as far as this report, it's not just one man. He said this man has since walked that back. It was a Republican lobbyist who asked this man to do this report. It wasn't a man. It was the National Payroll Reporting Consortium that sent a letter to both the House Ways and Means Committee and the Senate Finance Committee saying that, let's see here, yeah, the 2-month extension could create substantial problems, confusion, and costs affecting a significant percentage of U.S. employers and employees. So that's I don't know what he was talking about. That he since walked that back. That's just nonsense. But the other thing is about this whole that it's logical that they wouldn't want a 1-year extension if they didn't want a 2-month extension. They passed a 1-year extension, as I already said. They voted on that twice now. We know they want a 1-year extension because they passed that. The House passed a 1-year extension of the payroll tax holiday. So this is just BS. Look, I have staked out my position on this pretty clearly. I don't think it's a good idea to extend this payroll tax holiday any further. I think it should be over December 31st, revert back to the original rate come next year. And I'm inclined to agree with Senators Kirk and Manchin, who I played you their remarks in a previous video that you should check out if you haven't seen it already. But more importantly, I want to wish you all a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. Of course, check out my website, and most importantly, check out my blog. I'd really like to get your comments. I've got some great articles up on my blog from this week and last week, so check out my blog and find an article you like or don't like and post a comment. You know, disagreement is great. That's what really evokes sometimes more commentary. But I digress. Enjoy the holidays, everyone. Until next time, Chuck Schumer, don't mess with the right-wing genius.